It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. The weekend's almost here. Let's get started. Yes, a lot of unsettling developments in the world of sport, and trust Firstpost and me here, Rupha Ramani, to get you all the latest. How bitter is the rivalry between North Korea and Japan? Football and frenzy really always goes hand in hand. The two countries are down to almost fist fights on the football arena. We'll get you all the latest on that. And what about the fight that is waiting to explode on the cricket scene? IPL starts today. The big preview is also lined up for you. How are Chennai and Bengaluru prepped up for the big season opener? And the drama continues to hurtle on in Formula One. Clouds over Verstappen staying in Red Bull. And of course, what is upsetting Hamilton this time? All of that on the show, but first, Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the IPL, Australian spinner Adam Zampa has withdrawn from the season this year. Media reports say it is due to personal reasons. Rajasthan Royals have replaced Adam Zampa with Mumbai's Ranji Trophy hero Tanush Kotian. Gujarat Titans too have lost a player. Robin Mins, who had a bike accident, has been ruled out of this season. Gujarat have roped in B.R. Sharath as replacement. France's sports minister Amelio Di Castera has called out at Russia's reaction to IOC's decision. IOC banned Russian and Belarusian athletes from the Paris Games opening parade, to which Russia responded by calling the decision destruction of the idea of Olympics. Reacting to Russia's statement, Castera said, and I quote, "The words that have been used are shocking and grotesque." Staying with sporting events across the world, Malaysia has decided to not host the 2026 Commonwealth Games. In a statement, the government cited the expensive costs as reasons for doing this. Earlier, Australian state Victoria had also withdrawn from hosting the Games. They too had cited overruns as one of the reasons. India were held to a goalless draw by Afghanistan in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. The Blue Tigers came close to scoring via Manveer Singh on two occasions. India has now won one, lost once and drawn once in their three Group A clashes. The two teams again face each other in another leg, which will be held in India starting March 26th. Former Brazil striker Robinho has been arrested in the city of Santos. Brazilian court ruled he should serve a 9-year prison sentence. Robinho was convicted of a rape charge he committed in Italy in 2013. In 2017, a Milan court found Robinho and 5 other Brazilians guilty of gang raping a woman. And what a roller coaster of a ride the IPL has been so far. For the first time since 2008, when the carnival began, there will be no Virat Kohli, no Rohit Sharma, and now no MS Dhoni at the toss. The end of an era and the start of some brand new things. We have 5 teams to preview today, so let's not waste much time. We have to start with the team that somehow always manages to make the pre-season talks about themselves, Chennai. That captaincy announcement is sinking in today, so why don't we kick things off with the old warhorse? Now, can I even look beyond him? The swagger, the wisdom, and the man who symbolized the old army, who won them the 2018 edition. MS Dhoni's charisma, both in front of the wicket and behind it, is all you need to always keep Chennai in the hunt. As long as he's around, there is little else anyone would have to do. In what could be the last season for the legend, Chennai is bound to make this one an utter special one. There is no point going into statistics of what makes him key in the setup. Safe to say that the man who led them to 10 playoffs, 5 of those converting to titles, surely knows a thing or two about what it takes to make winning a habit. Something he's sure to pass on to the next generation, which brings me to the king of the jungle. Ruturaj Gaikwad, so apt for a Gaikwad to step up to rule Chennai. Much like one Shivaji Rao Gaikwad, who became the heartthrob of millions in Tamil Nadu in particular as Rajnikant. He has been keenly learning the ropes from the best in the business, and it will be great to see how things pan out for this young 26-year-old at the helm of affairs now. He surely has had experience from running his state side. But can you even get anyone better than the most successful skipper to guide you through a season? Win or lose, this will be a memorable episode for Ruturaj and the Chennai franchise. You always knew that this was waiting to happen, and it couldn't have been a better way to do this. He will be sharing toss time with his long-standing opening partner at Chennai, Faf du Plessis, who of course is now captaining the Bengaluru franchise. When Chennai takes on Bengaluru today, and right on to the next one then, Busy Bee. Now, he couldn't take on the captaincy mantle, but he is a leader when it comes to his all-round performance. Ravindra Jadeja was the match winner for Chennai against Gujarat in that final last season, and a lot of those cameos is what is expected of him this time around too. He has the knack of hitting those big sixes when it really matters, whether it is to put on the runs for piling on the pressure later, or while chasing down a target to relieve the pressure. He's deadly on the dry Chennai tracks with the ball, and the slinging bat just adds another dimension to it all. Rounding the Chennai watch, of course, let's get on to the new cub on the block. So much talk around this youngster and his mad hitting skills. There has been enough buzz around Sameer Rizvi, and guess what? He's nicknamed the right-handed Suresh Raina. So pretty obvious he had to head to the yellow team straight away. Sameer Rizvi had a decent domestic outing and is known to dominate spin, play spin really well. In the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy last year, he smashed 75 of 46 balls, quite the mad hitter. So if given a chance, could be an entertaining bat right. Now let's move, of course, to the next team that they are facing in the opener. It has to be Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Can the name change and jersey colour change bring them some luck this year? They desperately need that, but let's kick things off with the old warhorse. Though Dinesh Karthik was on my mind, I have to give this one to the man who's defying age. He's nearing 40 but looks lean and mean to take this on for years to come. Faf du Plessis is again a very calm leader. He can handle pressure. The way he takes wins and losses in the same vein makes him extra special. He knows the kind of baggage he's up against and the challenge of leading a franchise such as this one, that has the talent to win, the skills to make it to the final, but somehow have always faltered just when things have looked good. A lot rests on him and how he leads with the bat. Because here's who is giving him company. Virat Kohli has a thing with South African greats. They are a match made in heaven, and they get along like a house on fire. He had that sort of relationship with AB de Villiers in the past, and now he shares a very close bond with Faf du Plessis, two very mild-mannered Proteus superstars. Let's be honest, Faf may be the captain, but Virat is the leader. He's the face of the Bengaluru franchise, and it all rests on his shoulders. He's feisty, has the intensity to deliver. The one concern, his T20 batting style has come under a bit of a scanner. Can he display some firepower up top to put all that to rest? Next up, Busy Bee. Another worthy candidate and pretty much completing the core of Bengaluru's campaign this season, Glenn Maxwell. Again coming off a mad form, carrying forward from the demolition that he displayed at the World Cup in India, plus rolling his arm over. It's a strong option for the Bengaluru franchise. Barring a few incidents off the field, Maxwell will be in a solid headspace. That's what we reckon. For a campaign that has to make it, Bengaluru does boast of a great batting depth. It is their bowling that could pose some concerns, as we've always been seeing, season over season. Time to move on to the next team, and I'm picking Rajasthan. Let's start with Old Warhorse. Somehow I sense R. Ashwin, who loves to lead, loves to be a captain, and probably has rued not getting that opportunity in India, is enjoying this position at the Rajasthan Royals, being led by one of the younger players. He's one of the seniors in the side and has somehow found his mojo right here. Though last year he was rather quiet, he will be looking to take that 500 wicket magic from the tests onto the T20 space. He has the experience, the skills, that's needless to say, to make this season count for the Royals. Let's move on to Cub on the Block. There are a few there, but I had to get to the man who has captured the imagination of so many sports fans the world over. Yashasvi Jaiswal is not exactly the Cub. He's now stamped his authority on the world stage, but being one of the youngsters in the side, there is so much to expect from this man. He will be shouldering the responsibility alongside veteran Joss Buttler at the top to create pressure on the opposition from the get-go. And then, of course, there are enough swashbuckling players coming in to carry that momentum right through the innings, which brings me to Busy Bee. I think I'm sticking my neck out for this one because Riyan Parag has been a mystery in that he has always flattered to deceive. He comes in every season with the world being expected of him, and yet he manages to disappoint. It is not a very pretty situation to be in, I admit, but this time he is coming in with a bucket load of runs across domestic tournament behind him, fresh of great form. I say you will see a very different Riyan Parag this season. We round off Rajasthan with the king of the jungle. Who other than Sanju Samson? His quiet, smiling, affable nature makes him a perfect fit to captain this side because there are so many seniors and he, one of the youngsters, is managing to keep it all together. Again, someone who was right there with this franchise through the highs and lows. The relationship the two share is deep. Sanju Samson has undergone some of the most tumultuous ups and downs in a career that many feel could have headed a different way. He's coming on the back of some scintillating knocks for India, so there is again much expected of him. Nevertheless, there is no pressure. His contribution behind the stumps as keeper and captain is far more valuable for this bunch. Now let's move to the last two teams on our agenda. First up, the finalists from last year, Gujarat. What a ride it has been for them, especially over the last few months, from title winners under their talismanic Gujarat lad, son of the soil, Hardik Pandya, to a final and then now losing their captain. There is much that's happening in there and hanging by the thread. But the reliable superstars in Rashid Khan, David Miller is on the field are still around. So let's start with the king of the jungle. As it goes in the animation movie Lion King, you never know the leader you can be unless you are pushed right into it. Shubman Gill would be feeling all of that just now. After Hardik Pandya went back to his previous franchise, leaving the option to lead to a very few, Gill would be the obvious choice. Given his talent, the fact that he is one for the future, that is as far as the batting goes. How about cricket acumen and leading a team, taking them along and creating that vision for the squad? Well, that is what we will get some idea of during the season. But here's the thing, he will have the very able and solid and sensible Ashish Nehra, former India pacer, constantly having his hands on his shoulder. And from having spent some time in that franchise myself, I can say that should be gold to at least get him on his feet. And then, of course, how Shubman Gill runs with it is what we'll have to see. Right then, that brings me to Busy Bee. Has to be this man returning from injury. Rashid Khan is the golden ticket for the Gujarat squad. He's always been in the thick of it and has proved so in both the seasons that he's been a part of, especially in this particular setup in Gujarat. He's also mentoring Noor Ahmed, the young spinner, in the ranks to step up. A leader clearly, and without Hardik Pandya's all-round skills on offer, much of that lies on Rashid Khan now. He's known to create breakthroughs, he's known to try and force something, and also is key while batting under pressure. Never underestimate a hungry Rashid Khan waiting to prove himself all over again. Moving to round this team off with Cub on the Block. Again, not exactly untested, but Sai Sudarshan, the young lefty, is an absolute solid find. He was part of the batting lineup rather sparingly in Gujarat's first season and then, of course, cemented his place in the 11 after showing his grit and consistency with the bat. He's diligent and has the most solid frame when it comes to batting in the top order. Not the most flamboyant, but his stroke making is all class. This southpaw is again an integral component in that lineup. He will be expected particularly to take some of that pressure off Gill with that added captaincy coming in. So much to expect from Gujarat here this season. So now let's round this off with the last team. Quite the marathon ride this. We go to Lucknow. And we'll start with the big one, King of the Jungle. KL Rahul is again back. Another comeback after a niggle kept him away from cricket for a while. When there is captaincy, there is always pressure. And KL Rahul did feel a lot of it in various times as captain across franchises, including with Lucknow. Will he revel in that this year though? That's the question. But even so, he's another for whom his batting style with the demands of T20 cricket really not coinciding. So you could see some changes there that could be tried to figure what works best for KL Rahul as well as for the team, which position he could come in. And who knows, maybe this year we'll see a different KL Rahul both as captain and batter. Next up, Busy Bee. He has a very laid-back demeanour about him, as most South Africans generally do. That is what Quinton de Kock is, but he's sure busy when he's out in the middle with the bat. He loves to get the big scores. So it's not important just to get that starts for his side, but to make those starts count into big ones. Quinton had a fabulous run in India with the World Cup. Tough that they didn't finish well. So that is what he will look to carry forward here with the Lucknow franchise too. He's intimidating and fiery at the top. And with Myers, that combo could be very deadly this year. Again, much depends on the top with not too many big hitters, barring probably Stoinis and maybe a Deepak Hooda in fine form waiting in the wings. And we round off the best and the one who was talked most of this year at last. Shamar Joseph. We spoke to him after that historic test win that West Indies registered over Australia at the Gabba. And even though he spoke about the dream of playing and winning tests for West Indies, little would he have known that IPL was waiting to happen. Quietly roped in to the Lucknow setup with no bells and whistles, Shamar Joseph is sure to create all the noise with his skills on the field. Again, someone coming in with little to no experience, humble beginnings. Big things are surely in store for Shamar Joseph. Would he be the key to Lucknow's below par bowling so far? He needs some strict mentoring and nurtured here to become a potent force in the years to come. That rounds off my preview, but here are my picks as well for the playoffs. Mumbai, Rajasthan, Hyderabad. Sticking my neck on the line with this one. And the fourth is a fight between maybe Chennai, Delhi. Oh, Bengaluru as well. Bengaluru is my third, and maybe Chennai, Delhi is a fight for fourth. We'll see how wrong or right I get in a few weeks. Now, be good to thy neighbor. The last few years have pulverized this phrase. It holds no relevance in the times that we live in. The images you see right here, the latest tension between Japan and North Korea, is proof of that. The two neighboring countries have been conflicting for ages now. Relations between North Korea and Japan were always hostile and practically non-existent. From spying to missile testing, the two nations have been at opposite ends of the spectrum. The same relationship spills onto, sports, which is why we're talking about these two countries in particular. Today, because of what has happened in football. The latest, the home leg of North Korea's World Cup qualifier against Japan that was scheduled to be held in Pyongyang has been called off. North Korea gave the news in a letter to the Asian Football Confederation, and apparently Korea had concerns about an infectious disease currently spreading in Japan. AFC confirmed the cancellation, saying the game will now be held at a neutral venue. Rules suggest that the host country is
The decision taken in consultation with FIFA and relevant stakeholders comes after the AFC was formed on March 20th by the DPR Korea Football Association of the need to move the match to a neutral venue due to unavoidable circumstances. The matter will now be referred to the relevant committees in FIFA with further updates to be communicated in due course.
Right, rules suggest that the host country is supposed to nominate the venue, failing which AFC will do the honours. But this isn't the first time Korea has stood up Japan after showing interest. North Korea was scheduled to host a men's football international in Pyongyang in 2019. This was part of the qualifiers for the 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup. North Korea suddenly announced their refusal to host the game, citing the COVID pandemic. And in February this year too, an Olympic qualifier between the women's teams of Japan and Korea was switched at the last minute to a neutral venue in Saudi Arabia. Reason? North Korea refused to host it at the very last minute. And there was enough confusion preluding that game too. The Japanese side then had to change their travel schedule at the last minute to reroute to Saudi days before kickoff. So a clear lesson, if you are a Japanese footballer planning to play a match in North Korea, chances are you have to be prepared to travel elsewhere on sudden notice. The geopolitical tension between the two countries supersedes the sport and the competition. But here's the thing. Just yesterday, Japan beat North Korea in the first leg of the AFC World Cup qualifying 1-0. The game took place after North Korea test-launched their short-range ballistic missiles, and that always rankles Japan. And that affects their sporting ties, or the lack of it. Japan, who's ranked 18th in the FIFA rankings, was bound to win against North Korea, who are ranked many places below at 114 in the world. But here's the thing, a loss to anyone else is just a loss. A loss to Japan, their friendly neighbor, is not just a defeat. Reasons enough to also refuse hosting the second game and leave Japan in the lurch? Well, hear me out here. Remember that under 23 Asian Games last year, North Korea and Japan played each other, with Japan winning that tie 2-1. North Korean players were furious. So what did they do? The captain Yang Kuk-chol and his teammate Kim Kyung-sok nearly attacked the referee. They shoved his arm and nearly ganged up against him. The entire team. They were angry at a penalty being awarded to Japan. And even after that scuffle, the North Korean team coach Sin Yong-nam in fact defended his team's behavior, including that of their captain. Goes to show this is not just a sporting rivalry. It's not just a contest, it's war.
I think sports should be separate, but for this match, I believe it was the Japanese Football Association that said something ridiculous, like there won't be any prize money for North Korea if they win. I felt very saddened by this.
Political affairs is irrelevant. It is player against player for sports, and then country against country. So even though Japan and the US are bashing North Korea for their actions, that is irrelevant. And I think we should look at who wins and who loses fairly.
And it crosses over to the women too. When they played each other in Tokyo last month, North Korean fans made loud anti-Japan messages and bathed half the stadium in blood red. But it's not just North Korea who have shown their despise. The fire is not raging from just one end. Japan is equally to blame in the feud. Earlier this week, Japan's foreign ministry warned football fans not to travel to North Korea for the match, a clear spiteful move if there was ever one. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, he said, as you know, North Korea takes a hostile view of Japan and travel is not recommended for the general public. And Japan was quite ready for this football match too. 14 government officials had been set to accompany the team for the game. So clearly, Japan was quite worried about their players' safety. When it comes to footballing prowess though, Japan holds the upper hand clearly. The last time North Korea even qualified for the World Cup was way back in 2010. So when the country intervenes into their sporting functions by these seemingly knee-jerk reactions, all that it does is peg the teams back. In this case, their football squads. And maybe that is impeding their rise and growth as a sporting country. A sport that lives in the fast lane has taken that job description quite seriously and rather literally. Apart from the races, the other facets are coming along just as well, including heartbreaks. So many. Ask Mercedes and Ferrari about it. Drama, uncertainties and controversies looming large. With 2 Grand Prix already concluded, the Australian Grand Prix on the weekend is creating all the buzz. From Max Verstappen's stay at Red Bull to Hamilton questioning the FIA, murmurs off the grid are bound to make the upcoming race even more entertaining. So what can you expect from the Grand Prix Down Under? Here's a report.
Formula One is no longer just a sport, but a drama thriller that continues to enthrall fans across the globe. From the Bahrain GP to the upcoming Australian Grand Prix, the sport has proved why it's one of the most followed the world over. It all started with the Bahrain Grand Prix, from the Christian Horner saga to Verstappen winning in Bahrain and Saudi. And with the Australian Grand Prix on the weekend, fans are up for a mega treat. The biggest threat on the track will be Max Verstappen and Red Bull. There's no question about that. Red Bull may have a world of troubles raiding their corridors and making everyone lose sleep, but on the tracks, their dominance is unparalleled. And they've made a dominant start to the season. Both Verstappen and Sergio Perez have taken up the 1-2 spots in Bahrain and Saudi. Only Ferrari has looked capable of applying some pressure to Red Bull, with both Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc taking a podium each in the opening 2 races. But a week-long break has given enough time to both Mercedes and McLaren to reflect on their performances. The fact that Albert Park circuit in Melbourne is much quicker than the Saudi and Bahrain tracks will mean more grip for the drivers, so strategies will be altered for this one. But the biggest question is, who will be the contender? The 2023 Australian GP saw a multi-car collision apart from a couple of others crashing out separately. The 3 incidents resulted in red flag, and when red flag is shown, the race is halted. This made the contest more challenging and showed what a fast track could do. But were they just freak accidents, or will this surface have something similar this year too? If that happens, then Max Verstappen won't have the same advantage that he had in the first 2 races. Speaking of Verstappen, he may be heading into the races as the favourite, but a psychological chaos is still there. The Red Bull driver has been consistently linked to Mercedes. This after the Christian Horner saga. Ever since the conversation between a female employee and Christian Horner were leaked online, Verstappen's connection at Red Bull has been rather tenuous, leading to rumours of him joining Mercedes the very next season. Johnny Herbert has joined in on the call for Horner to resign. He even claimed the deal between Mercedes and Verstappen is almost done.
I hear it is pretty close to a done deal, brokered between Max and Mercedes. Is it a power play by Verstappen team? Possibly. The whole shenanigans are ripping Red Bull apart, as Jos Verstappen has said. It is ripping the team apart to the extent they might well lose their biggest asset.
The murmurs may claim Verstappen is leaving, but the inside voices have dismissed all the rumours. And the biggest in the list is Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez.
I think Max, as far as I know, has a contract with the team and is fully committed to the team. The team is in a very strong position because, with the results we're currently having, the harmony that there is in the team, I think to achieve that, it just takes a lot of years probably. So I think I don't see any reason to change it, and it will obviously be a blow for the team if Max were to leave.
Nobody is sure what Verstappen's decision will be. And the biggest gainers from this can only be Mercedes. Mercedes will be aiming to push their challenge at the Australian GP. In the first 2 races, the team had struggled. While George Russell still had a decent run with 5th and 6th finishes at Bahrain and Saudi respectively, Lewis Hamilton had a terrible show with a 7th and 9th place finish in the 2 races. So Mercedes will be aiming to leave all that behind and put on a confident show this weekend. Mercedes too has been embroiled in some off-field drama. Susie Wolff and her husband Toto Wolff were investigated in December 2023. The investigation was regarding allegations of passing information between sports owners, Formula One management or the FOM, and a team member in Mercedes, putting the couple under the scanner. The Wolffs, of course, denied the allegations, and within 2 days, the FIA concluded that neither party had a case to offer, and gave no explanation to their conclusion or insights to their investigation. Susie Wolff has not let this slide. She has filed a criminal complaint against the FIA, saying that she and her husband's reputation had been damaged. She even cited that there was no transparency to the investigation. And when Hamilton was asked about Susie's decision, he was all praises for her. Hamilton was even asked about the FIA head Mohammed bin Sulayem, and his retort is rather scathing.
There is a real lack of accountability here, within the sport, within the FIA. There are things that are happening behind closed doors. There is no transparency. There is really no accountability. And we need that. The fans need that. How can you trust the sport and what is happening here if you don't have that? I'm incredibly proud of Susie. So hopefully, this stand that she is taking now will create change, will have a positive impact, and especially for women.
There is much going on to set the tracks on fire even before the action begins over the weekend. Either ways, I'd say more eyeballs will be tuning in to catch the race and the drama of it.
We have time now for last serve. Shohei Ohtani. It's a name that's slowly becoming quite the rage the world over, and we want to tell you more about the life and times surrounding the mysterious Ohtani. The young sensation is becoming the face of baseball, but here's a teaser, a mural being made in his honor in Los Angeles. That is some effort, but thanks for joining us here on Firstpost. Have a lovely festive weekend. It's also the start of IPL, so do enjoy that, and I'll see you on the other side on Monday. Take care.